AB3 is compacted and they spread a little bit of loose AB3 on top of it. The string line we have set here, it runs the entire length, but you don't want to run it, stretch it the entire length and let it set, because the string will have a tendency to sag in the middle. We don't recommend going any longer than 11 panels without the stake in the middle like we have there, to stretch it tight, because you're setting the panel basically to the string. All you're worried about is getting to that string, and if your string is sagging at all, then you're going to be in trouble. Wallow is getting the panel close, put the AB3 underneath there and kind of get it as close as they can by hand, and then he'll set it with our rubber mallet. Again, it's not necessary to use a level or to use anything else, because we're just trying to get close to the string, as close as possible. Set that down to the next stake, and get some panels thrown out there, and start setting them all in place. It's important that you try to keep the panel as level up and down as possible, but again, this wall system is very forgiving, and you'll notice the top is what you're worried about. The bottom, it may be off just a little bit, not excessively so, but a small amount, and it's fine, because the next course above it, you're going to set the string line again, and you're going to dictate the batter that you go up with the wall. So it's pretty simple. So once you get the panels set, you'll need to cover them. This wall calls for an AB3 backfill, crusher run backfill. It's called several different things, half-inch minus, whatever it is. First of all, you make sure that that's pugged and damp or wet. If it's dry, it does no good to put it back here. You can't get compaction at all. But before you do, you need to cover up your counterforks with a free draining aggregate. We use half-inch clean or three-quarter clean. That is a lot easier to work with than larger rock, and that's what's spec'd on this wall, honestly. So you'll cover up your counterfork with that rock, the drainage rock, because you want a drainage column in the front of your wall to let any water comes through. We don't have it in here yet. We will, because this is at the finished grade. But there will be a 4-inch perforated drain tile with a sock on it that runs the entire length of the wall. It'll carry any water that may get into the drainage column. Once it hits that drain tile, it'll be taken out to the end of the wall where we daylight it. So that'll go on here next. But you'll get your counterfork covered. It's not an exact science, just about halfway up the panel. Cover the counterfork. Make sure your backfill is put in after that. And you place your grid on it. The grid needs to run almost up to the top of the panel here. You don't want it sticking up high enough that you're going to catch it with gravel or anything above this panel. But once you get your grid along here level, you can see we've started backfilling up here. You'll bring in your aggregate. If it's, again, an AB3 backfill or something that's different than the drainage column, you want to dump it in the back and leave space up front to put your clean rock. As you do it, it'll kind of, if you could cut the wall in half here, you would see, once it gets up in the air, kind of a sawtooth pattern, because that'll be covered with clean rock up to the level of the top of the panel, and then we'll start over again with AB3, and kind of back and forth. It creates kind of a sawtooth pattern. That's exactly what you're after. So we have the grid stretched out tight. We got AB3 being put on it, and as you walk around the corner here, you'll see the finished product. AB3 up to the top level of the panel, and you're going to clean rock up against the face there. That's what you're after right there. And now we can set panels on that part. We'll continue that process all the way around to the end of this course. It'll look just like that before we stack any more panels on top. Drainage column with this clean rock, he's going to stay maybe an inch or two above it and just kind of knock it down level. You don't want to be level with the panels because you've got to compact it, and that creates a hole. You have to fill that void up with rock again. So he's just knocking down the clean rock, kind of flush with his AB3, and just make it smooth enough so it'll compact decently. But he's going to keep it an inch or so You can go as high as 3 inches above it as long as you're able to compact it down enough. And then they'll run this. We have a 1-ton plate, a reversible plate compactor. Honestly, you can use something even bigger than that. You can use a smooth drum roller if you have one available. But they'll compact that. And again, on a small block wall, you would never ever get that close to the front of your wall with any equipment. But we're going to run this basically over the top of the wall, and it's not going to hurt at all. The backfill compactor first by starting basically at the back of the counterforce and work your way out. So then you're pushing that rod that way towards the back. And now that it's tight, now that it's compacted, and it's not going to move, they'll start compacting the drainage column. Setting these panels on top of other panels. You notice that this panel is not touching this wall. Again, it seems odd, but that's how it works. It's recessed below it about 1/2 inch, and back behind it maybe 3/4 of an inch. And this panel sits on the backfill of the wall below it, or the block below it. It does not sit on the panel below it, because if it did, when you got 30 feet tall, it would start cracking these panels. They're not made for the pressure to sit on top of each other. They're made for the backfill. And so Lalo's going to start setting panels here. You'll notice again, if you look down here to the right, we have the string stretched the entire distance, but in the middle there we've set a panel and we popped a stake up against it to tighten the string on, because every 11 panels will need a stake of some sort. Otherwise, no matter how tight you get your string, it's going to sag some. And you'll notice that in your wall as you go up. So make sure that every 10 or 11 panels, put a stake, tighten your string up. So now Lalo's got some, he's got some gravel up behind in the counter fork and some up here. Same process basically as we were doing on the base. It's a little easier with this clean rock though, now that you get up into the wall. You kind of move it around with your hand. It sets a little easier than the base course, which is on AB3. We have some walls that are all clean aggregate, not AB3, so that's beneficial as well. But just trying to get it as close to the string as you can. And one of the benefits of this system with the block not sitting on the panels below it is that if you're off a little bit, if you make a mistake and you're off 1/2 inch on your string or something like that, the next course is sitting on the backfill that gives you the opportunity to fix it. Every course you go up, you're fixing mistakes that you made below it, and it's very forgiving because on small block walls, it's got to be perfect. You got to set every block, it's got to be dead level and perfect, because that's the foundation for the entire wall. But on this system, every course you go up, you're setting base basically, and so it gives you the opportunity to fix any mistakes that you may have made. Standing up close to it right here, you can see a little bit of the aggregate. Once the wall gets up in the air, it kind of hides everything. So he's going to push that panel right up to the edge there. put a little bit of gravel underneath the back end of it to get it as close as you can just by looking at it. And it just takes time and practice to get good at it. It'll take a little bit the first couple times until you can figure out a good system to do it. But he's just going to hammer it down to get as close to the string as we need. And that's it. Very simple. You want to make sure that when you set these corners that you don't have this. There's probably 2.5, 3 inches of space in the top of this because the panels are not the same width on the top as they are on the bottom. And so we'll need to cut like this panel here. We'll have to set this one up against it and we'll cut whatever makes sense 2 or 3 inches off the bottom here to nothing at the top so that it's tight. You don't want any space for aggregate to come out there because again, this base course is going to be buried, nothing's going to come out of it. But up in the air here, where it's exposed, especially with 1/2 inch clean, that stuff will continue to just work its way out of the wall. And you don't want that. You want to make sure the corners are tight and don't let any aggregate out of it at all.